Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome everyone, wherever you may be calling in from throughout Nikken land, USA, Canada, who knows what other country you may be calling in from. Welcome to our Power A-Team call. This call is designed to give you a little bit of insight into the lives of people who've made Nikken a career choice, either on a part-time basis or on a full-time basis, or they've added it as an adjunct to their current careers. And you may be at a stage where you're trying to make a decision about how you may be involved in Nikken, or to what degree you might involve yourself in Nikken. I myself have been involved for 27 and a half years. It is my full-time career, and it has been all that time. Even though I did have and do have other interests, this remains my primary focus and interest. But we've got some presenters, some stories to hear from today from various parts of the country. So I'd like to first and foremost welcome you all and initiate our call with our first guest on the call, Dr. Gary Lindner, whose background is physiology. He's been with Nikken 21 years. He's coming to us today. He's doing an in-home in Torrance, California. So as you can see, very active in the Nikken business. And we love in-homes. So you may be in a home right now checking us out. And that's normal because we do have a wellness home business. And it's really a home business by design, so that people can do this business part-time and within the comforts of their home. So, Dr. Gary, are you there? Would you tell us your story?
Sure, Mike, and thanks for inviting me on the call. I really appreciate it. And it is kind of fortuitous, since our main product is a wellness home, and it's our main solution for many health problems. And Heather and I love doing in-homes, wellness home presentations. People can see and touch and taste our products. It's awesome. So, as Mike mentioned, my background's in physiology with an emphasis in reproductive physiology. And it's kind of circumvent how I came to Nikken. I was actually traveling in China training veterinarians in assisted reproductive technologies. And after that course, one of the veterinarians said to me, "Wow, I really enjoyed your course. I know you're going home through Taiwan, through Taipei. I have a brother that has a health spa in Taipei, and it's all set up. Just show up at the club and spend a relaxing day there." That's the doorbell for more people joining us this morning. And so I'm sitting with this guy in his health club in Taipei City, and he noticed I have a neck injury, and he can tell by the way I'm moving and talking to him. And every time he talks to me, I look like this, and he goes, "You've got neck injury." And I said, "Yeah, I do." "Why do you look so happy?" Really was kind of my response. And so he started to tell me about this Japanese company, Nikken, that had products that could help my neck. Now, being a physiologist, I'd never heard of any of these technologies. He was talking about magnetics and far infrared technologies and negative ion technologies. And I basically looked at him like he was from another planet. He said, "I have no idea what you're talking about and how this could help my neck," and was polite about it. But in less than 24 hours, I'm sitting in my easy chair in my home, looking at Little League scores for games that I missed that my son had played while I was in China. And adjacent to where the scores were posted was a little half-page article about this company, Nikken, helping people all over the planet with these unique technologies. Now, I'm going, that's pretty weird. I mean, here I am on opposite ends of the earth, and it's being brought to my attention. A week later, I'm in Eugene, Oregon, walking through the lobby. Gentleman comes up behind me, taps me on the shoulder, and says, "I can tell you have a neck injury because the way you're walking. We're having a meeting here tonight for this company called Nikken in the hotel." And I'll go, okay. I didn't go to the meeting because I was hungry and I needed some food after a long day's work. But I started to investigate it. So what really first caught my attention were the products and the technology, and basically because I'd never heard of it. So I did a literature search. And this was, 22 and a half years ago. And I pulled up 1,200 references in the scientific literature using magnetics for health. And what impressed me was that nearly 70% of those peer-reviewed journal articles were in veterinary journals. And why that impressed me? There's no placebo with animals. Something either works or it doesn't work. So what do you, I'm getting the highlights here. I have, just talk. Oh, okay. So anyways, so I started to use some products. The products worked great. They took care of a neck injury I had. I started to share some of the products with people. And then people loved our products. And for 21 years, what I've noticed is people love our products, people buy our products, and people will share our products. So at that point in time, I was very busy. I was on the road, and I had no balance in my life. You know, we talk about the 5 pillars of health: healthy body, mind, family, society, and finances. And I was asked, Gary, where in those 5 areas is your life out of balance? And this was at a big event down in San Diego. And as I'm looking at these 5 areas of everyone's life, I said, pretty much I'm out of balance in every area except finances. And, you know, I was gone all the time, traveled, missed birthdays, little league games, family events, you name it, for the sake of work. And I think we all come to a point in our lives, and for many of us, it's at that age when you're in your mid-40s, and it could be earlier or later, where you wonder, what else is there? You know, I love what I do. I get paid well to do it, but there's got to be more to life than this. So actually, Nikken was the solution to that time issue problem that I had. So, you know, now Heather and I can travel anywhere we want to go. It's our primary passion and our purpose and our business, and just love sharing it with people.
Fantastic. Great story. I do want to ask a question of each of our speakers. This will be the first question for you, or the only question I'm going to ask. And that is, there's a lot of people on the line right now who are new or maybe revisiting how to get started in the business. And we all had our start. But in hindsight's 2020, if we had that start to do over again, let's say this is the first 90 days of your Nikken career starting today, what would you do the same that you did when you got started, or what would you do differently knowing what you now know?
Knowing what I now know, let's start there. I probably wouldn't spend a year and a half studying products and technologies. I mean, that was really just kind of self-serving before I started to share them with others. I'd also rely on our support team more. You know, I was pretty much a business owner, used to, you know, fly in on my own. And of course we had employees, but I didn't leverage the team and the support that you all and everybody that's going to be on this call, and many that are listening as well, provide. The third thing I would probably do different is that I sponsored, when I first started, I think I sponsored about 9 people my first month. And then I got into that business management mode from my background of managing people rather than out there and letting them just go for it on their own, or also to keep sponsoring more. What would I do the same? 1, attend big events. That's really where that enlightenment and awakening came for me. 2, I networked a lot, but I really did not utilize the talents of the people, like I said. And 3, I started developing my wellness home right away, and got as many products as I could, so not only I could experience those, but that my family could as well.
Fantastic. Excellent advice. Well, Dr. Gary, I know you're in the middle of an in-home, and also there with you, who's your host for that event, is Yoko Tsue. So first of all, thank you, Dr. Gary, for sharing your story. And we're going to invite
you. Yoko and I are going to change seats here.
All right, perfect. All right. So we've got Yoko Tsue, who's also in Torrance, California right now. It's, I guess, your home. Is it your home there? No,
it is Bob and Mary Ann's home.
Oh, okay. So
we all share each other's homes.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, you've been at Nikken 16 years, a silver consultant, background in business, manufacturing, and advertising. Yoko, tell us your story.
Well, my story is very fun. My sister had back issues. She bought a Nikken sleep system and Mag water system. And I used to be fortunate to go over on weekends at times and have breakfast with she and her husband. And I noticed there was a change in her. You know, she didn't seem to walk around with her hand on her back and seemed to move around like a slow old lady, you know, and she's younger than me. So I said, what are you doing? And I said, you working out? And she said, no. She says, I bought this water system and sleep system. And she says, I seem to feel better. I said to myself, oh no. She's a younger sister. I said, what am I going to believe her? Anyway, so I said, okay, well, this is kind of unusual and unique. I'm going to buy it. So I bought the exact same thing. Okay. And just so you'll understand, she and I had just finished caretaking my uncle, my dad, and then my mom in the last 10 years. So we had been going through understanding what growing old was, and not too nice, not too wonderful of a journey. And so for me, I basically was a skeptic. So it's kind of good, just like Dr. Gary, that, I can relate to lots of people's experiences, because this sounds like magnets. I mean, we live with all this junk. So what do I know? At any rate, so the whole interesting thing is, in a matter of 2-3 months, my dry skin, dry hair, everything, it didn't so much change, but I just felt better. Then the sleep system, in 2-3 months, I felt 10 years younger. I felt like I could multitask. I woke up every morning. I used to be, I still am. I'm like a chipper person, but I woke up like really, I couldn't go back to sleep. It was just like that was it. So I knew that there was something here. And then I realized, I've been in business 35 years, reading the Wall Street Journal. I never heard of Nikken. I says, why not? This is something strange. So then that's what I did. I sought out more information about the business because I'm a curious individual. And I said, people should know about this. I mean, if this could do this for me, I saw what it did for my sister. Nobody knows about it. There's got to be something going on here. So that's how I entered the business, all right? Because I wanted to share this with my community. And I wanted people to be able to not experience what my parents did and have more of a comfortable, aging process, or at least live in a better lifestyle. It's been a wonderful journey. I can tell you that my first profound experience was with my grandson. 9 months, he was stiffening in his crib. And through all the tests and all the neurologists and all the specialists, they couldn't pinpoint what was creating this issue. And it seemed to worsen over a period of 2-3 months. What do I know? I heard people with the pet pad, right? So it's got magnetics. I put it on his crib. It happens to fit the crib, which is smart. Nikken is very, very smart. And in a matter of 2-3 months, all of his symptoms reversed. He's now 15 years old, and it's never returned. And he's a very, very healthy young man. He's never had anything. So all my 4 grandkids, I went out and bought them all pet pads. They all have grown up with Nikken, okay? So at least in that way, I have covered my family duty that my grandkids are going to be the healthiest kids around. I would just say that there's so much here that is so unique and way beyond American medicine that people should look at this and say, as I did, there's something here. Please, I would say, please check it out and look further. Okay, I think I'm done for now because I have my things that I would do better. That's what
I want to know. So if you had your Nikken business to start over again, let's say this was the first 90 days starting today, what would you do differently, or what would you do the same for the benefit of people who are just listening and starting up?
Okay, there's so much here, okay, because I was a corporate person, all right, and I grew up in a family business, in retail. So all I could tell you is I have business in my blood, okay? And so in corporate America, I mean, I was brainwashed, just like all of us, is that, you don't ask questions because you look weak. All of the things of developing yourself into management. And then when you get to management, like Dr. Gary, you manage. I mean, but what happens to all of the people that are entrepreneurs like us? They should be free spirits. So we should all be able to pursue our dreams. I think that's what I would definitely express more. I would say that I retailed only because I didn't understand network marketing or multi-levels, and I didn't ask questions, so I went around in a circle. Retail. Well, sure, I retail, and I'm doing very well. I was sent to Italy. It was a wonderful gift. I ask people too, does your company, or do you have the ability to have work for a yearly trip, that the company pays fully? So to me, there are so many unique things, like the college offers scholarships for their families and their children. The company also has so many benefits as far as compounding and leveraging. In other words, I would pursue the business part of it and ask questions, look for people for help. You can't get that in corporate America. You can only get it here in Nikken. Because people here, we're a community. We all help each other, and we all want everybody to succeed. So I know people want me to succeed. I want other people to succeed. That's not what happens in corporate America. Everybody's out there for themselves. So there are numerous things more, but I can't take up your time because I know Igor's next.
Well, thank you so much, Yoko. That was a great story and great advice, by the way, just to ask questions. You're absolutely right. People have been taught to become they're, sort of an island. You have to prove to the world, you prove to your boss, you prove to the company you're working for that you're worth keeping on. And so you don't want to reveal that you don't understand or don't know it's something. And that is an inhibitor in this business because it slows your progress down. And no one wants to see you slow down. They want to all help you prosper. And so the faster you get access to the information, the better you know or understand something. And that comes from plugging into the community, plugging into the communication channels, calls like this, calls like our things like our WhatsApp chats and so forth. So don't hesitate to be what we call the squeaky wheel. Yeah. In other words, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Ask questions. And there are no stupid questions, so ask. Thanks for that advice. Wonderful. All right, we're going to slide over to Florida, Sarasota, Florida now, where we have another veteran from Nikken, 24 years in Nikken, a Royal Diamond, a good friend of mine, Igor Gruendl, and his background is healthcare and fashion. Tell us about your story, Igor.
So I don't know how it is for you when you went to school and you had the dreams and you didn't know what you were going to become. Well, I was one of those that didn't know what they were going to become. I mean, what I wanted to become was either a musician, or I actually applied for graphic design in a university, but they didn't take me because I missed the deadline. So after that, I just went to work in the family business, the fashion business. That's how I got my little accolade about fashion. Well, my mother realized really quickly after putting me on the sales floor that I was not cut out for sales at all. So I worked in the background. I did logistics, I did the advertising and all that. But it didn't fulfill me. There was this like hole in me. I just wanted to do something that fulfills me. And just, supplying fashion to women wasn't my thing. I couldn't even figure out what color was going to come in 9 months, and that's what you buy ahead. I didn't know what style. I think I would have gotten my family business out of business if they put me in charge. So anyway, but I thought, hey, I'll do good to my parents. I'll figure things out. I'll go into wholesale. So I worked for a wholesaler, then I worked for a designer. Then I became an independent sales rep. I said, maybe I can get the sales thing down. Then I went into advertising in the fashion business, specializing in the fashion business. And then about when I was 30, I had a total burnout. And I just said, this is not how I want to, this is not my life. And I had to look deep inside and like ask myself, well, what is it that I really wanted? And I've always wanted to deal with natural health care. That was my big thing. And because I also knew that I needed to be an entrepreneur or have my own business to have certain freedoms to express myself and to build it to a level that I want. Well, I thought maybe I get into the into the restaurant business and open up a fast food healthy restaurant. So that was my idea when I came to the United States. I'll go to Boston, Minneapolis, and San Francisco, and I'll open up a healthy fast food chain. Well, I ended up in the thriving metropolis of Port Charlotte, Florida, where the average age is 63. I learned very quickly that Americans were not as hip on natural health care as I thought they would when I came here. And then the closest thing that I could get my hands on in that field was a 1-year education as a massage therapist. I said that was the closest, so I did that. And then I started working as a massage therapist for an orthopedic surgeon who gave me the opportunity to advance my degree and do physical therapy. So I went back to Germany. I worked with a renowned physical therapist that was specialized in suspension table therapy, which I then, in a flagship clinic in Sarasota, Florida, where I still live today, started working. And I've helped people that had severe lumbar disc problems. And I just know that the orthopedic surgeons in town hated me and hated our clinic because we got things done naturally. And that really cut into their into their income. So a lot of the patients that came to us, they weren't allowed to go back. I mean, kind of a very, very selfish way to think about that. Anyway, one day, in the clinic, there's a fax machine, and the fax machine, while it happened to be in the office, in the reception area, there's a printout coming out. David Stolfus, PhD, coming to Nokomis to share Nikken. I was like, wow, that's interesting. Well, just before that, I was introduced to Nikken by a patient of mine. And he said, come tonight, there's a guy here from Hawaii, he's going to tell us how magnets work on living things. And I said, well, I'm a sucker for anything natural. So I went there. It was in a computer store. Well, there was only the owner and then two other people there. The owner left after 5 minutes, shaking his head. Well, and I sat in the first row and the last row, and I felt like, well, I'm a good guy. I'm not just going to just leave, but I was kind of boiling inside that I was brought there under false pretense. I was sucked into watching a presentation for a network marketing company. How dare they? No, anyway, I stayed long enough, to give them my peace of mind and how dishonest it could be to lure people in with magnets. And I work for an orthopedic surgeon. I know stuff when it comes to healthcare. Nonetheless, at the end, because I have a business background from the family business, I did sign up to buy things at wholesale, but under the strict, under my strict plea never to call me. Well, 14 days later, I called my sponsor and said, "What's up with this? Why aren't you calling me? This is network marketing. Aren't you supposed to bug me?" Well, anyway, this brings it back to the fax machine that printed out the PhD of David Stolfus. Well, I went to Nokomis and I looked at I listened to David Stolfus and his presentation, and it really got me interested. But I was still looking for the hook, so I went up to David and I asked him, "So what's your PhD then in?" And he said, "Well, that was a misprint. I'm a platinum." So what's supposed to be platinum distributor? And then he says, "Well, but I'm doing a business training on Saturday in Orlando." And I said, "Aha, there's the hook. Now they're going to get me. They want big bucks from me to go there." And I said, "Well, how long is it?" He says, "Oh, it's from 9 until 6. Oh, that's a long, what does it cost? He says, $5. I was like, what? So I went there with my upline and we learned a lot. And I would say that triggered not only my curiosity, that put aside some doubts that I had. And I left with one thing that David said there, and it was like, if it is meant to be, it is up to me. The 10 most important words in network marketing and business development. And I realized, a couple of things that he mentioned, like you go to events where those people are that make the income that you are looking at. And at that time I said, I'd like to really make $10,000 a month. And he says, then go to the places where people are that are making $10,000 a month and associate with these people. And then that is what I did. I went to big events and so forth. And out of that, developed a belief and an understanding that this could be bigger than I thought. Now, to let I felt like I was a nobody because I was an immigrant from Europe and I didn't know anybody here. I had nothing. I had no money. I had $36,000 in credit card debt, so I lived the American dream. I also didn't have a formal education when it comes to business or what. So I thought I would be a failure in business because I didn't know how to run a clothing store. Now, anyway, that all aside, my wife can attest to it that I am probably the shyest person that she's ever met. And in my first business meeting, I had a very wealthy customer, and she wanted to buy products for $2,500. And I attempted then to talk her out of that. because I couldn't imagine that somebody could make on a whim the decision to buy products for $2,500. And my wife kicked me under the table because she couldn't believe what I was doing. Unfortunately, I did leave that home and sold 2 pairs of insoles and a back flex. So you can see that I did not have the most great beginnings. And if I brought myself to, or I would say I was my biggest obstacle in getting to success. Well, it took about 3 years, and after 3 years, I kind of got down what is necessary. I got into this rhythm of the business. And I had a really good buddy of mine that actually talked about the rhythm of the business, and I really had to go over and over it until it sunk in. And that was something that I carried with me when I went to Germany. You know, and I have to eternally thank Mike for it, because I told my group there, I said, we got to listen to this guy. He not only sounds good, he has statistics, and he has stuff that we German analytical people can understand. And this is how we stair-step this down and break it down, and how we can get to Royal Diamond. And we utilized it. So, I mean, in the end, it is, I would say, tenacity, or let me put it this way. If you could tell me the value, the value of things that, or the hierarchy of values that you have, I can tell you where you will be in the next 5 to 10 years. Very simple. And if Nikken is not one of your top 3 values in the hierarchy of the things that you value, you will not get there. And I had to learn that the hard way, because I thought there's a whole bunch of other things that are more important. But it was the most valuable thing. When I put Nikken up there, things where I was able to attract things because I thought about it more often, because it became a constant pattern in my mind. Now, with this, I'll save you the time, Mike. What is it that I would do the same? Well, what I would do the same is I would go to those events, but I would go there faster, and I would go there more often and be associated with the people, because there I was learning what was in their head. I've asked them what books they were reading, what tapes they were listening to, what things were going on in their head, because I knew if I would do exactly what they do in their head, I have a great possibility that I would end up there. And it's not how they do it, it is just that they permeate their mind, and you become it because of that, and then you become the Royal Diamond, not a copy of something else. Or that you say, oh, those guys up there. And I had to get this up there out of the upline. Had nothing to do. Once you understand that we're all on the same level, and there is no upline that is more than anybody else. No, they're up there because they're waiting for you to put your hand, reach your hand out, so they can actually reach out to your hand and help. And remember, one thing at the beginning I thought was very interesting. I looked at the compensation plan. Understand that the 6 people above you earn 6% on you. Put them to work. So another thing that I would do is do more ABCs. Let other people do the work for you. It's okay. And I know we're not taught that at school, but it's okay. So, and another thing is start with the end in mind. I mean, Stephen Covey talks about, we always hear that again. But when you start with the end in mind, then becoming a Royal Diamond, or becoming successful, or becoming an influencer in the world will become easier, because you will always hold that as the highest regard. And remember, it's not linear. You don't start here and then go up there. It is a squiggly line that goes all over the place all the time. And even for us Royal Diamonds, I mean, we have the same thing. We think we've got it, and then the universe, will slap you in the face, and then you'll understand you know nothing. But that's the humble thing, and that's the good thing about it. And what my fellow speaker said today, bringing it back to a higher purpose. This is not about selling products, but really honing it down on the humans being more. Everything's in there. Everything is that humans being more in the 5 pillars of health. What do they mean for you, and make it important. And when the love for that comes into your mind, that spark, when that happens, you will speak with people with great purpose, and that will attract the people to you. And they will be attracted to you to be part of a greater vision, of a greater purpose.
Fantastic. Well,
thank you.
All right. Great wrap up. Thank you so much, Igor. Thank you, Dr. Gary Lindner, Yoko, Tsue, for being our guest speakers today. I hope, folks, you heard something here that is appealing to you, helps you appreciate and understand the purpose and the passion in these people. How else would you make a career of something? This is 16 years, 24 years, 21 years, and myself almost 28 years now involved in sharing the story of Nikken, the purpose of the 5 pillars of health, and encouraging others to take this journey with us. We do have a family affair here. This is a community that we're building, and our goal is to create a community worldwide, every home a wellness home. Yours could be the next one, the next chapter for helping us to move that ball forward. So do consider joining us, and when you do, plug in. We're there, we're here, and there to help. Thank you very much for joining us today. Have a great weekend, and please share the story. Thanks, everybody.